Hello, my name is Julian Smith. I'm a freshman environmental science major with a minor in psychology. And one thing I've learned after being in school for a couple of months, college is really difficult if you don't know what to do. Luckily for you, I happen to know what to do to a certain degree, and I would like to impart my knowledge onto you. So, I'm just gonna give you a couple of tips and tricks, about 5 tips and tricks that will make your whole college experience a little bit smoother for sure. So, thing number one, if you are a high school student or middle school student, wherever you're seeing this video, as long as you have like a decent amount of buffer time before you're actually supposed to be going to school and whatnot, is in your best interest to have the highest grades as possible. Obviously, not everybody can be a straight A student. That's just not the case. But the higher grades you have, the better. The reason why I say this is mainly just because if you have higher grades, it makes it way easier to get scholarships, to get better opportunities at different schools, to get accepted to different schools, etc. The list goes on and on. Having better grades is going to pay you dividends when it comes to just opening the door to whatever school you want to go to. Even if you don't necessarily know what school you want to go to for sure, having better grades will allow you to have way more options, which can sound kind of daunting, like, oh, well, I don't want too many options. Trust me, you want as many options as possible, because having more options means that, you're not forced to go in any direction because that's the only thing that's available for you. You have the ability to pick and choose where you want to go exactly and what fits best for you. So having good grades, that's thing number one. Thing number two, going back to that point about, not really knowing what school you want to go to, not even figure out, but be more conscious about what school you really want to go to. What I'm saying is that I'm somebody who kind of didn't really know what school I wanted to go to. I'm currently going to HBCU, and me deciding to go here kind of was a last minute decision. I wasn't really sure where I wanted to go until a little bit before I had to really make my final decision on what school I wanted to go to. And while it did all turn out in the end, I was definitely a number of schools that, in retrospective, I'm like, oh, I wish I would have applied there, because it would have been a nice little option to have to go along with where I'm now going, along with the other schools that also accepted me. So for you, what I'm basically saying is that it's in your best interest to have a nice array of schools that you would be at least somewhat interested in going into. Learn about those schools, Of course, this kind of COVID time, so I don't know how much they do college tours at this point, but I didn't get to go any college tours. So that made my decision-making process a little bit more difficult, because obviously there was COVID time, so there wasn't really a lot of people, walking around going to schools. But if you do have the opportunity to do a college tour, whether it be virtual or in person, you should go ahead and do that, because, get to see the campus a little bit, get a kind of vibe for what's going on around the area and so on. It will really pay you dividends, because picking a school can be really difficult, and especially if you don't really know anything about the school, it can kind of feel like not a non-decision, but kind of feel like a frivolous decision that will have a lot of effects on you into the long-term future. So it's best to go into that sort of situation as prepared as possible. It will always be better to be prepped and kind of have an idea of what you're going to be getting into and so on. So point number two, start trying to figure out what college you want to go to as early as possible. Moving forward, so let's say you picked your school, you got some good grades, now you're on campus. Now, once you get on campus, there's a lot of stuff going on, especially when you first move in, dorm, you got a roommate, you got to figure out what your classes are, you got to figure out where to go eat. Eating is really important on campus, all right? You gotta figure out where you're gonna eat, where's the good food, where's the bad food, and so on. But I can't really give you advice on that, because obviously all campuses are different, so I can't speak on that part. But some things I can speak on are, number 3 is become friends with your advisor. Advisor, counselor, whatever you would like to call them. When you get on campus, at least for my school, you get an advisor based on your major. Whatever major you get, that's who's you're gonna have like there's gonna be a counselor for the major. But even if there isn't one for that, whoever you would be apply for you to be your counselor, that person, you probably want to make a good relationship with them. The reason why I say that is because your counselor, they have access to all your transcripts. They can help you out with switching your major. They can give you advice on the school. They can give you access to whatever teachers you might need access for. They help you with scholarship stuff, internships. The advisor is a huge boon that every student has access to, but very few students actually take advantage of. You should be one of those people who takes advantage of it, because it will make your school experience much easier, or at the very least, way more fruitful than it would be if you don't. So number 3, make friends with your advisor. Number 4, don't be afraid to, not know your major. Now, like I said, I'm an environmental science major with a psychology minor. And picking my college was, like I said before, a little bit of difficulty. I wasn't quite sure where I went to go. And so, similar thing with picking my major. Now, the difference between picking your major and picking your school is that once you're at your school, it's a lot easier to kind of like maneuver / change that decision than it is to pick the school. Now, of course, when picking your major, you want to kind of pick a major you kind of want to be committed to. You don't want to be flip-flopping around, because then you waste a lot of time. You don't get the proper amount of credits. You can't graduate on time. It messes things up if you take too long to pick your major. But if you pick a major, right, and let's say, you get in there, you're like, oh, the classes are cool, but I don't really think it's really the right fit for me, and you're able to figure out another major that is more up your alley, and you think you do better with it, and you think it'll be better for you in terms of career or for your future, and you want to switch to that one, don't be afraid to switch. If you are undecided and your school has the option of an undecided major, go ahead and pick undecided. You're better off, taking a beat while at school and kind of like, figure out your direction exactly, and, being slightly behind, than to go in a completely opposite direction and then commit yourself to that decision unnecessarily. You're better off just, taking the breather and just kind of like figuring it out for yourself. And again, this is where advisor comes in, where, being able to talk to your advisor, they could probably help you figure out what major best fits you, or helping you, be like, oh, well, I don't really know much about this field myself, but I do have access to the teacher's email, the main director for the major. You can go talk to them, and they can probably give you a better idea of whether it's a good fit for you or not. So don't be afraid to switch your major. Don't be afraid to, be undecided. It'll definitely help you out. Is a resource that you should take advantage of, because it's just going to make your life easier. And number 5, for all my people who have trouble making friends and stuff, or a little bit nervous about, the high quantity of people who are going to be in colleges, because generally colleges have like thousands, if not tens of thousands of students at any given year. So, it could be a little difficult. It'd be a little daunting to, have that many people around you that, you can meet and whatnot. To that, I would say the easiest way to get past the whole friends thing is, 1, you just got to put yourself out there. 2, don't feel like it's a rush. You're going to be here for 4 years, and you're going to be around a lot of people. Don't feel like you need to make friends the first couple of months in school. You'll get around to it. But if you really want to make friends really early, or at least you want the easiest way to make friends, join some clubs, join some organizations. That is the easiest way to make friends. Being able to group up with like-minded people, or people who are at least interested in similar things you're interested in, makes the whole friend-making process much easier. And friends will come in handy, because when you have questions about, let's say, other majors, or they may know about opportunities for internships or various other things, or just to have them around as, just friends for friends' sake. Those are like the 5 things that I think are not the most important. There's a lot of important stuff when it goes into doing college stuff, because that whole situation is very not dramatic, but really important. But these 5 tips will make just the whole process of getting into college and stuff much, much easier. And during a time like college, especially during the time we live in right now with COVID and stuff, is just best to have access to this type of knowledge, which is why I'm giving it out to you for free. Anyway, that is pretty much all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you all do well in your future endeavors. Thank you and goodbye.